the idea that you get to be a woman just because you got some boobs and a lips, there's something very denigrating about that to women.
You can put a lipstick on a pig and it can still be a pig. You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's still a pig.
Like, it's a social phenomenon. It's not actually something that's real, because you can't just snap your fingers and tell me that now this problem is everywhere and it just didn't exist in the 90s.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. In this video, we're going to be watching Candace Owens' recent debate with Jason Lee. Now, this is one person playing chess and one person playing checkers. The amount of times that he makes a silly point and she eats him alive is quite astounding. Now, for the first few minutes, not exactly HD, but this clip does in fact identify as HD, so just letting you guys know to respect its identity. And with that, let's get into it.
So let's go back to the days where there was LGBT. LGBT, but you're 35.
Yeah.
So I'm 47. There were definitely trans back when I was a 6-year-old because I met one, but we didn't know what trans was. I mean, you know, over the evolution, because I'm definitely into LGBT, you know that.
I mean, yeah.
Don't play with me. Lil Boosie was literally sitting right there.
Breaking news!
Lil Boosie was actually sitting right there where he said he knew I was gay the whole time. I said, well, I think I passed as gay. But anyway, LGBT, there was always T. I think people just weren't exposed to it. You weren't exposed to transsexuals in Connecticut?
Okay, so I would say that even that's changed. Like, there used to be a difference between people that like to dress up and people that wanted to like get procedures to become something else. I did not know anybody that was like down with, like, I want to get boobs and get surgery and get my parts removed and identify. No, I definitely didn't know any of that.
So let me ask you.
I would have thought like drag queens were.
There were drag
queens.
queens.
That's what I mean.
I met Sparkle at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Bad drag queen.
That's crazy.
So now that we live in a world where transsexual is a thing, what is your opposition to it? Like, why do you care if somebody has a penis or not, or boobs or not?
Well, my biggest opposition to it, just to start, would be this insistence that we allow children to think that they can pick and choose their genders. That's definitely a psychosis. Like, this was not a thing. People were not struggling in kindergarten. We were not arguing about bathrooms. Like, this is all just made up. The majority of the bathrooms we were growing up didn't even say male or female. Like, when you were on the plane right now, it just says bathroom, and now they are like demanding spaces and things of that nature, which tells you that it's like, it's a social phenomenon. It's not actually something that's real, because you can't just snap your fingers and tell me that now this problem is everywhere and it just didn't exist in the 90s. So the biggest issue, just in
terms of the evolution of the rights and all that.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an evolution. I'd probably call it, I think it's devolved in many ways, because people don't, like, they just can't answer basic questions like, what is a woman? That's pretty stupid, right? That's actually really stupid. And now some people go, I don't know.
But don't you think some would argue that, I mean, I know people hate to there's so much you just said that we have to unpack, but I'm just go back to this. Don't you think that there's people that would say that about us as black people? That there was a time where we weren't sitting at the same counters, we weren't using the same bathrooms, we weren't able to go in the same doors, we didn't have the same rights, we were seen as less than human. I mean, I think...
It's not about less than human, I just don't think they exist. Like,
no, I'm saying in terms of black people.
Well, you're talking about, right now you're conflating being black, which is like, obviously you're born black, you know what I mean? That's not something that I have to basically try to convince you that, like, no, this is real, this person, look at the color of the skin. It's like, yeah, obviously we have different races, it's very obvious this person's black. On the trans stuff, you're asking me to be crazy. You're asking me to look at a grown man and imagine that he's actually a woman, and that if he goes and gets work done, that he magically becomes a woman. So it's insanity. And definitely, let's not conflate it with being black. Otherwise, you'd have to defend Rachel Dolezal.
The old conflating black people with trans people argument. He's going to regret bringing this up for many different reasons. But obviously, there's a distinct difference here in that black people are born black. And when a trans man is identifying as a woman and asking to go into female spaces, he's asking for special privileges, additional privileges. He's not asking for civil rights. He's asking to impose himself on the rights of women.
Well, there's no defending crazy. That's crazy. But
why is that crazy?
Hold on. Because she was a white woman that said she was black.
Yeah, that's a man saying.
But let's back up. I don't think that anybody grows up wanting to be discriminated against, wanting to have feelings, or wanting to have identity where they know they're going to bring that type of adverse reaction. Do you think gay people grow up gay or are born gay, or that's an evolution?
Genuinely, I just am trying to get you pinned down here on how you can say that, but not acknowledge Rachel Dolezal. If we're talking about the trans issue, she's transracial. So give her respect. Put respect in her name.
Explain to me how.
Because on the inside she felt black. She was dressing like she was black. She was making her skin darker like she was black. She was standing for the black cause. She was working for the NAACP. It just happened to be that she was, a white girl with blonde hair and freckles. And it only became problematic when somebody exposed it. And people said, no, you can't just be black. Why not? If you're gonna say that a man can just be a woman, why can't Rachel Dolezal just be black? You got to be consistent.
The fact that he's going to sit there and call that argument crazy is in itself crazy. Because actually, the fact of the matter is that race is on a spectrum. People can actually be multiple races. People can be black and they can be white. You can have a little bit of black in you. You can have a great grandmother that's black and then all of a sudden you identify as black. People do that all the time. However, you can't be part man, part woman. You are either a man or a woman. So if he's going to defend men who identify as women, which is logically and biologically impossible, then he has to defend Rachel Dolezal, because maybe back in her ancient ancestry there is some black in there. It's more probable that she could identify as black then a man can identify as a woman, is what I'm saying.
Because she's white.
Okay, because it's a man.
No, but hold on. I get it.
You know I'm right.
I get
You know
it.
I'm right.
No, I don't agree. And this is not a matter of right or wrong.
But it is.
Hold on.
This one is.
Let me tell you two truths. One thing can be true, right? Or two things can be true. You can put a lipstick on a pig and it can still be a pig.
You can put a lipstick on a pig and it will still be a pig. Is he trying to make Candace's point for her?
You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can call it bacon. You can call it a side meal. It's still a pig. So I'm not saying right or wrong. And we're too early into the conversation to get into who's right or wrong because there's a lot to get into. But it's a matter of perception, a matter of experience. Like I can't tell you what it's like to be a black woman. You can't tell me what it's like to be a black man. You can't tell me how it's supposed to be biracial. You can't tell me how it's supposed to be gay. I can tell you how it's supposed to be straight. Because we all have our own lived experiences.
Wait, so if you're a man, then you can't tell a woman what it's like to be a woman, and if you're a woman, you can't tell a man what it's like to be a man? He's doing a great job of arguing Candace's point here. Now, this continues, but with a slightly more HD clip.
A transsexual experience is not one that deserves to be validated.
Yeah, and I'm similarly trying to unpack why you don't believe Rachel Dolezal's lived experience is one that should
No,
be
I do. I understand, and that's the conflation where you're trying to unpack one topic by putting
it's
up
exactly
another.
the same.
But we can't ask why a rhinoceros isn't an elephant. We're talking about an elephant, and the elephant in the room is that you have a skewed perception, in my opinion, about a transsexual experience. And I'm simply asking, why do you feel like it doesn't deserve to be validated if that's how the person feels? Because you know what you guys do, and I'm gonna say you guys that have these strong opinions.
What I just one person
No,
sitting here.
these strong opinions. No, it's people that you represent because you have very strong opinions. And what happens when it comes to the LGBT community is you'll conflate pedophilia by using children and gay, which are two different things.
I'm not conflating here. Your argument is that if someone who is not clearly being born with a penis, for example, decides that in their lived experience, actually, no, they should have had a vagina, and so they're going to start living like they have a vagina and getting cosmetic procedures like they have a vagina, that suddenly I should respect that. I'm saying, okay, keep it consistent and say the exact same thing about Rachel Dolezal, and you hesitate there. For some reason, you don't want to do that. And so,
no, I said she was crazy.
Exactly. So you have to keep it ideologically consistent. That's all I'm saying. But I'm saying to you, I'm consistent. Rachel is not a black woman. And a trans person can't just wake up one day and decide to be a woman. A man can't wake up one day and decide to be a woman because of lived experience. I'm sorry that I'm consistent, but you have to figure out why you're not.
We've probably got a pretty good idea why he's not, and that's because he exists in this sort of LA bubble where he thinks that wokeness is life. And if you say anything that isn't perceived as getting on your hands and knees and worshipping at the altar of transgenderism, then you are going to be called a bigot. So actually, I think we can figure that out. Even if you are completely and utterly trapped in a logical contradiction, as he is right now, he refuses to just admit that he's wrong. And he starts saying things like, well, this isn't about right and wrong. Yes, it is. You're wrong. She's right.
And it's also, by the way, incredibly insulting, the idea that you get to be a woman just because you got some boobs and a lips. There's something very denigrating about that to women. It's basically saying anyone can be you. It's just a costume. Like being a woman is not a costume. It's not a costume. It's just not.
First of all, some of you don't even do it well. I mean, I know a lot of women that don't have lips, that don't have ass, that can't have kids, that, and some that do have uteruses that probably shouldn't. But that's not because of my opinion as a man. It's my opinion.
Because
that's not
what makes a woman. That's the whole point. And it's
so
like,
what makes a woman?
You think that you have to have lips and boobs to be a woman?
No, but what makes a woman a woman?
Well, we could start at the very beginning. We could talk about why can the doctor tell you, why do I know that I have a male in my stomach right now? Why are they able to do that? Right? We can go back to X and Y.
But all women can't have kids, though. There's a lot of women that aren't able to have children.
I'm just saying, like, why are they even able to give you a gender test to tell you what are they looking for? We are different chromosomally. We are just literally different. Biologically, we are two different species.
So do you believe
and so it's not a behavior. It's like this person, and even if you say, okay, some women can't have children, that means something has gone wrong. In a perfect world, every woman has a womb and therefore can have a child. Things can go wrong, of course.
So I don't know if he's playing dumb here or if perhaps he is a few chips short of a full packet, but it's pretty clear what Candace is saying, that obviously there are biological differences between men and women, and this is something rudimentary that we should all understand and that we should all acknowledge. A doctor can in fact tell you if your child is a boy or a girl in the womb, and actually if they dug up your bones in 1,000 years' time, they would also be able to tell if you're a man or a woman. And no, Jason, they wouldn't be able to do it because they can tell by the lips and the ass. That's not what makes a woman. On to the next bit now about how childhood trauma influences these sorts of things.
But it doesn't change the thing that we are not even allowed to talk about that. Like what I just said is like one of the most controversial things ever. They're like, no, everyone's just magically born this way. It's like, no, your childhood experiences matter a lot, actually. Yeah. And with so many people growing up without fathers in the home and people searching for that paternity or without a mother in the home, searching for that maternity in a different way. This is kind of like girls when you're like, they slept with everybody. If you ever go back into their childhood, you'll find that like their dad wasn't there. Sometimes that creates that behavior of sleeping with a ton of men. So it's the exact same thing. I think that if you are dealing with someone who thinks they have same-sex attraction, the first thing is to get to the why. I do not believe that all of these people are being born
But my question
gay.
is, why do we care? Like, who cares? Who cares who likes who? In LA with all the gay people, New York with all the gay people, Tennessee, in your neighborhood, if the lights would turn on at 8:02 of every gay person, it's probably everybody on your block, maybe not tell you they're not gay, but they sucking dick on the weekend. You don't know who's doing what. We don't know. Do you know how many straight men will hit me up, women, wives, everything? Because a lot of y'all are running them over here. We don't want them on this side of the street. Go back over there with your wife. But they come over here, Candace, I'm telling you.
I don't doubt anything in Los Angeles.
Wow, what a revelation. LA is a completely degenerate shithole. People are not only en masse confused about their gender and their biological sex, they're also very confused about their sexuality. Shocker. Would never have guessed it walking through the streets of West Hollywood. And that's also really not a flex. So good to see Candace still taking names, even though she was about 9 months pregnant during this debate, interview, whatever you want to call it, guys. Make sure you join the Rattlesnake TV Discord, which is just below. It's opened up. We have a thriving community over there. And if you would like to watch another video, right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is Rattlesnake TV, keeping you armed and dangerous.